feel like the Iron Fist Karzim we're seeing from
Merida.
Meride is not as strong as some of the other Karzims we've seen in this league already. Hyde is a player that obviously comes to mind when you think about Iron Fist Karzim. You think of Bakery as well.
Of
See that
course,
every now and
Bakery.
then in Europe, but like he made some mistakes there, oftentimes being aggressive, where he had to palm himself, or he nearly had to palm himself, then had to retreat, heal twice before he could be involved in the fight because he didn't want to waste his palm. He didn't take riposte there at the end, which at the end of the game it didn't really matter, I guess, either way. But we'll see how it plays out. I'm not going to say he's bad or anything. I just feel like he played very aggressively in moments in that game where basically the coordination you described on Raven was like, kill him. What is he doing? Like you might be able to get away with this on Hero League or against a weaker team, but we're not actually that weaker team. And I think it was Coach actually said in the interview segment that we have for Black, he doesn't really feel like there are any weak teams in this tournament right now.
That's right.
And the question is for me, I'm like, which team is going to be the weaker team in this tournament? Which one is going to be like on our minds, number 8? And so from what we've seen, it's not clear.
It is
Raven
very
looks
not
really
clear.
strong too.
I can barely think of the higher maybe 3, 4 teams and the mid tier, and I don't know who's gonna go down from that middle tier to the lower tier. And if I think of the support fight compared between Joju and Meride, Joju did lose the first match, but I think Joju won the support fight. Meride did have some nice cleanse off that taunt, but he basically had to care for everyone on his team. So but Joju hitting on that skill shots every single time, and Twilight Dream on that right point, I think that turned around a lot of the team fights. And from so far what we've seen from Joju today, I'm liking this player.
I think NMX also played a good Li Ming. That one time where he won the fight there, got the dominance reset with the Calamity was quite impressive. As we're going to see, Raven will take first pick, and in this meta, again, I stress that this is going to be what we see most of the time. It's always what we see in Korea, but in this meta specifically, it's so powerful. And Black will choose Dragon Shire for the second map. I think there's a very strong chance this time we see Coach's Dahaka, and the global hero is just continuing to go on.
Just like what we saw yesterday, Gocha was on staying on top lane with that Dehaka and just coming out whenever he was needed at the right time. We'll see. Raven does have the first ban, so they have the advantage of taking away Falstad this time if they are given choice.
I think we'll probably just see the Zarya ban here.
Or even a Tassadar ban, because I'm sure Black will like to have a Tassadar, but I'm not quite sure if Raven is all ready for Tassadars, or even how many team comps they can actually make and they practice with Tassadar.
Black really hasn't been showing the glass cannon Vala type play that we saw a lot yesterday, and I think we will continue to see today. Black did ban Vala away. Honestly, it feels like we're having two types of compositions in this tournament. It's the single DPS Vala, unkillable Vala type composition versus globals, and whichever team prioritizes the globals has had more success in this tournament so far. So if I'm Raven, I just want to ban Zarya here because I want my strong first pick, probably the Falstad. Choosing first pick and then not having an insta-lock on the ban is worrisome to say the least, but it is going to be the Tassadar. It's not wrong. It's still solid, but
It is one of the best. Like we saw Tassadar Zarya or Zarya 0-2 ban like half of the time yesterday also. So those two are basically just stuck there the entire time, and now we have some options left. Raven can take away Falstad if they choose to, or even some other. Like they have to see the match yesterday. Maybe they can take away the Haka from the beginning.
I think this is a Falstad pick. I think it's unwise to choose anything else in this current meta. There's so much to gain from having that global hero, and if you take Dahaka here first, he's just simply not as good as a global hero as Falstad is.
Or you can just like what Black did in game number 1, you can go ahead and choose Zeratul instead, and then have just force out the Falstad ban, kind of. Falstad pick.
Well, time ticks down here as Raven not going to lock anything in just yet, but I think the Falstad is the best pick, and there it is.
They're roping.
They're roping, essentially. They're bots roping. Oh boy. Well, we saw a lot of Rag Mouth, but it seems to be Zeratul's going to be prioritized here by Black today.
It's almost decided that if one picks Falstad, that the counters to it is Zeratul, but sometimes it does not work. We saw that happening against, I believe it was Tempest against Black yesterday also. They can do 1v1, but depending on the mechanics and how, like, how many team of your team really comes to help you, you can. But having that 1v1 duel, Zeratul has that favorite hand.
After Zeratul's rework, obviously he's very strong. He's always been a strong hero, but now he's on the forefront with his level 1 Vorpal to be able to teleport back and get even early game kills. That gives him mobility. It's just basically from the start that other heroes do not have in terms of escapes and aggression. And we saw the soft counter Zeratul in the previous set on Cursed Hollow, and Raven didn't commit to the false so they took it anyways. We're going to see how well Gyoja actually denies this Falstad pick here. Looking for range damage. I wouldn't be surprised if NMAX grabs his Comfort Li Ming here with the Malfurion. They're going to take Gul'dan instead. So that's interesting.
Gul'dan is so much of a good wave clear, and you
Yeah.
can also, with Horrify, you can make some significant changes. So that's also a good pick. And Jojo looks so crisp on that Malfurion, so it's a good pick.
Before NMX got knocked out of Season 3, the only player to play Gul'dan in OGN was Sans at the time, so we never really got to see NMX is Gul'dan. We never have, and I suppose today we probably will. So this is actually pretty exciting to me to see how this is going to be played. Of course, he might play the Falstad as well, but I'm leaning towards him on Gul'dan since he normally does the ability power heroes. Looking for the variant ban here. It's pretty obvious because it's one of the counters to Zeratul right now. It's not a must ban, so Black is giving it some second thoughts here, but I think it's the safest one. They're going to lock it.
And for Raven's side, Black basically they have so much open, and if they open ETC and Dehaka, they can take both. So probably just banning out one of them at their will be a good option there. And Meride, he was favoring Karazim also yesterday pretty heavily, and even when Karazim was open, sometimes he chose Rehgar too in that manner. So we'll see what happens in that ban. Raven just has to make a choice. Like we said it before in the first draft, they're forced to pick a choice within lots of options. When MVP Black, they know Raven already. They don't have too many options, so they're going super quick with the draft.
I think a Tychus ban here is pretty good. So is a Li Ming ban. But if you really want to target somebody, I think going back to you mentioning the Karazim, that's a strong ban. It would really throw off Black. That would force them to play Rehgar, which they've not been prioritizing so far in this tournament. I think we're probably going to see Li Ming or Tychus here instead, though. And it's ETC. I'm going to go for the Warrior Choke instead. The problem with the ETC ban is now Black can turn this against Raven because they also have no Warrior of their own. And that's why I think it's a bit of a weak ban. And I wasn't even really considering it. Muradin is taken here. They're going to take Karazim to get both of those. And now they have a large amount of heroes to choose from as Raven can no longer ban. They can choose either Li Ming or the Tychus.
I'm surprised Dehaka is still just open, does not used, and maybe people are actually focusing on Muradin. And Tist, I believe Tist has not played Muradin yet, or just once yesterday, I believe. And Tist was really good on ETC so far, so I think Raven just went out and just banned out on ETC on that. And having Meride on Karazim, that's a strong pick, because Karazim is a support, of course, but Karazim does do a lot of damage. Some of the Hero League games, I end up seeing Karazim doing the most damage, so that already proves a lot.
Probably watching Bakery stream. Look, I mean, there's still a lot of supports, or rather warriors available here for Raven to choose. It's probably going to be the Johanna. Who it's going to be paired with is still unclear. Dehaka would be pretty strong here. They'd have two warriors, not two top-tier warriors in terms of heal. Oh, it's Artanis again. I don't like the Artanis pick here, but I do like the Dehaka. It gives them a global.
The Raven does have two global potentials, and H82 has not made a significant swaps on game number one. Maybe he was just warming up for game number one. Maybe he can just go ahead and grab a Ragnaros into the swap, and that will be the team fight making the decision.
We'll see if he's the one who plays it too. Could be Diong who plays instead, since H82 is normally the solo laner. We'll find out, guys, as we go into the second map of the night here. MVP Black versus Raven on Dragon Shire. MVP Black. Sake on Ragnaros. Reset on Li Ming. Tist on Bird and Kyocha on Zeratul. And Meride on Karazim. With only one ranged hero, this was bound to happen. We'll see if Sake goes for the W build. Tries to be a mage. Doesn't look like it so far.
In red, Raven, Jojo on Malfurion, Hamlin on Fawcett, Animax on Gul'dan, DeYoung on Dehaka, and H82 again on Artanis. So as the same.
Yeah, I
as
mean,
game 1.
He normally is a solo laner, but he's obviously usually the bruiser type hero, so it would make sense he plays Artanis. This means Raven doesn't really have a dedicated warrior per se. Both, you know, Dehaka and Artanis can kind of be sub-tanks, as we call them in Korea, but they're not really main tanks, which is going to give them less peel than, for example, what Tist is going to be able to accomplish on Muradin. And that's why, when you go back to the ETC ban with what was available for Black, I think it was a mistake. We do see one Prism go off here, but it's just to capitalize on with it, as Ragnaros is currently winning the top lane. The thing is, in Europe right now, and in NA, we see Artanis valued so highly because of his Prism. If you hit good Prisms, which another one was missed here on Kyocha, then you get picks, and it's one of the coolest, craziest, fun to watch and fun to do things.
It's super cool.
And if you get them, you get picks, and it's like, if you hit a good Prism, the person who gets hit is just dead most of the time if the team is coordinated with it. The problem is in Korea, especially against coordinated top-tier teams, you're not going to hit very many Prisms.
Yeah, you barely got caught, and especially the back line, they know that Artanis is going to come for you, so they're really cautious on that all the time. That's also why, like day one, I think we saw only one Artanis yesterday. That's one of the factors that we don't see too much of Artanis, and having Artanis also loses that potential of ping, but hold that thought, Gul'dan is a little bit of trouble, but that's going to be it.
Look at the dodge here. It's just so obvious.
He didn't even move into it. He was waiting for it.
It's just so obvious. And against, I feel, weaker players, this will work, but not against Black. And as the game goes longer, I feel like Artanis loses value because it's hard to hit those Prisms. There's so much more support. Merida's going to have his heroic. You know, even if you do get that one Prism, it could get palmed. And I'm not trying to say Artanis is a bad hero by any means. I just feel like they needed a dedicated warrior here. And H82 is still unable to find early game pressure. I do give him points for trying here, though. But, oh, man, look at this. The jump in. This Prism is actually going to cause H82 to die. Merida will be able to get the jump away. He does not, so it's a 1-for-1, maybe a 2-for-1.
Hamlin instantly joins the fight, and that's also giving them 2-on-1. That's going in heavily favor for, but top lane is already pushing. They're losing EXP. The macro fight Black is winning, but still, Raven picked off 2 kills.
Well, Black got that extra soak in top and mid, but there's the flight up here by Hamlin to deny the channel. Currently at the bottom lane, of course, we do see Reset down there taking the shrine, so it's going to be neutralized here for just a moment. No globals for Black is just really unfortunate, but they didn't have first pick. What are you going to do? And then this Dragon Shire here, they're still trying to control it without the globals. It's just so difficult. Now they actually have to deal with these Siege Giants, so I don't think they'll be getting the Shrine control anytime soon here in the bot lane, as though we see Kyocha rotate down.
I think H82, I think he's a bit pressured or nervous on stage that he has that kind of thinking that I have to make the play. I have to make this play. I have to hit this Prism, and he's rushing. He can hold that and pressure MVP Black the entire time. He can like not use it during the entire team fight, and then that kind of forces Black to be pressured that, oh, he's still not using. He still has Prism. Maybe we have to back off, but he's wasting it and then like making it way too easy for Black.
You know what? I have to completely agree. The thing is, he does need to hit those, but he doesn't need to be using them as early as you're saying. Oh, we're going to see another pick off here. See you later, NMX.
Well done
you
by
existed.
them. Look at that.
Coordination, man. It's MVP Black. But the power of abilities like this, there's a few of them in Heroes of the Storm. 2 that come to mind are currently Artanis' Prism and Stitches' Hook. These type abilities are not strong just because of their effect, but because of the threat of the effect, the positioning that they force. That's what you have to be afraid of if you're Black here. When the Prism is off cooldown, you have to position better. You can't be as aggressive. You can't do these big combos and blow up NMX. But if the Prism is just thrown out willy-nilly all the time, you could just keep calling out its cooldown time, make plays during its cooldown, or get good trades during its cooldown to back off. So I completely agree with what you're saying. Is Kyocha's going to actually channel this now?
So even if Raven has 2 global heroes, they lost the first Dragon Knight, and they're also trying to prioritize on the targets at the bottom, but they failed to do so, and the Dragon Knight is already pushing that middle first wall. And
Oh,
Black
Diong is in trouble
by
here.
the end of it, I think they can hit 10 already, and Raven, they really needs to catch up on level. I think Raven is trying many good things, but I think MVP Black is just outsmarting them in a lot of ways.
Kyocha actually will be able to do a little bit more damage on the bot after getting this wall. The top lane was killed by Sake. Oh boy. I forgot Falstad existed either. Gul'dan, were they in this game? What happened? I thought I saw a Falstad there for a second, but it must have just been my imagination. This is domination. Similar to what we saw in the first game, but obviously for very different reasons here. All 3 cannon tower walls will fall. It looks like as Kyocha catches Joji here with Tist. He has no way to escape. He doesn't have Ice Block yet. We're going to see this Void Prison to make sure they can secure the kill. Meriday can jump in as well if they need his damage. Looks like they don't. Oh, Sulfuric Smash. 2 kills here, and Raven is getting smashed right now here in Game 2. As this is just as MVP Black as it gets.
I think MVP Black had upper hand in the draft. I think Raven had the right choice, but that Gul'dan pick was one of the questionable picks that I would say compared to Li Ming, because when you have so much mobility as MVP Black, and you also have a Zeratul that can come around you and just snipe Gul'dan out of the fight.
I mean, to exaggerate a little bit, I don't remember NMX playing any other hero but Li Ming. I think he maybe played Tychus and Falstad like one time each. He didn't play that many games because his team was knocked out of Super League Season 3 very early on.
That's true.
But the hero that comes to mind with NMX has always been Li Ming since her release. And that's why he played her last game. He looked really good on it. He chose Gul'dan here for the wave clear pressure. He's going for the fell build and not Echoed Corruption in this case. So not looking for that late game, but I don't feel like it's bad. Just to comment on what you said, I just feel like it's not a hero he's as comfortable with. And that's not something that's really affected the game, to be honest. I don't think NMX has done a single thing wrong this game compared to his teammates, but that's just something to point out that may affect their Game 2 here.
Compared to the MVP Black, still Kyocha on Zeratul, just sniping around and moving the right moves. And Tist is just like continuing from yesterday. He's been I think the best tank of Korea so far. He's one of those top tier tanks for sure. He's been keeping that aggro at the front line, not dying, staying alive. That's one of the most important thing. And that Prism just kind of went through Li Ming there.
Oh, H82 did a great amount of peel in that actual last engagement, getting his shields up consistently as well. We're going to see a Horrify come down here, but Kyocha's doing so much damage. Hamlin nearly gets taken out. Meriday with the triple jump gets it here with this Iron Fist build. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade, though, as Reset goes down, but H82 is the next to fall. Beautiful palm on Tist! NMX gets killed here by the Vorpal, and now Diong just barely gets out. Eats a lot of damage there from Rags W, but will escape. But somebody Twitch clip that Meriday move. Please, both of them. I hope there's one clip that has both the triple jump and the palm. It should be on the front page of Reddit. It should be on the front page of the New York Times tomorrow. Young boy in South Korea hits 3 Radiant dashes and a perfect palm all within 30 seconds. Front page of New York Times and Time Magazine. I want everybody to know about this.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. Crazy moves coming out from Meriday. That's the scary thing about Meriday. It is literally worth a ban for Meriday to not have that charism. And Tist is a little bit of an overextension,
yeah.
But still. They lost 2, but still, that's okay. They already have Dragon Knight pushing this bottom fort. They're 1 level lead, but soon also 2 level lead. So
yeah, what's really interesting is Karzim has been favored by Meriday specifically, but also some of the other teams in Korea now. It's almost like he's so good, both Karzim and Meriday, that it could warrant a ban. I was pretty critical of his Iron Fist play yesterday a little bit, and I was talking about that today. And I said in the Curse All game he made a few aggressive mistakes, but in this game it's almost like he heard me and he was offended because he is playing basically perfect. in game 2. Saga not able to get this mid keep, or excuse me, mid fort, but will clear this minion wave with the last seconds of the Dragon Knight. The expiration explosion there knocking them away. And this is half health on this mid fort, and they're just going to continue to press this advantage. If they kill it, it's going to put them that much closer to 16. They have this nice minion wave. And they have so much poke with Li Ming here.
So you know what I mean? H82 he's way too pressured to have that Prism swap from beginning of the fight. Like, he wants to make that play. I know it looks cool, and it is really like a good move to make before the team fight. I think he should hold that a little more. That's gonna help the entire team and pressure MVP Black, as we said.
It just feels really forced. I have to agree.
I think he's choking a little bit, but maybe he can come back later in the game. That's also a possibility. Like, one good swap can turn around everything. So we'll still have to see MVP Black just like keeping their position out of that range. They're also doing a great job.
I think to be honest, and hope that what we will see from HGC going forward in this series after this game is some more Thrall. We saw him play Thrall in the past. We saw him play Elden quite well, despite being picked sometimes in the top lane. It's one of his better heroes. So maybe that swap will work better for him than the Artanis, which has now failed twice. Make no mistake, this has been a failed Artanis. The game is not over yet, but it's definitely, like, if Raven wins this game, it will in no way be because of H82's Artanis play. He did have some good peeling in that last fight that was down at the bottom shrine that I mentioned earlier, but I don't know. Like, I know everyone in the West thinks Artanis is like top tier and broken, but
it is really good in Hero League, but not in competitive play. I think it's a different dimension of how you mentioned, because solo queue and competitive play, it's really different. It has to be different. Like, solo queuing, there is not much of a teamwork. There is teamwork required, but it is you can't really communicate at the same time, and you don't like live with them. You don't practice with the random players. Here, you live with them. You practice all day. Blizzard sponsors them, give them the prize money so they can practice in a better environment now. Killcha is found, but still Raven really trying their best out of Black, and they need to hit that level 16 right now as Black comes all the way up to fight.
Okay, some missed skill shots here actually. Tist not hitting that Stormbolt. Good dodges by Raven. But this is actually going to be, okay, I was going to say just for a moment of channel potential, but we do see the teleport down here by Diong to take this bot shrine. So it's going to be even shrine control at the moment. Look at the Merc camps pushing bot though. With Falstad, this should very rarely, if ever, happen if your rotations are on point. They have Falstad and Dahaka, and yet there were camps on top of their bot keep. This rotation down is seen by V Black. They take their own siege camp, so this is going to continue to pressure the bot lane. And they're just closer to 20. They have a structure lead. They have lost no structures, in fact.
And taking these camps will also force them to clear them out later on, just forcing them in macro later on. And that will be about time when they hit 19, and closer as they get to closer to 20, they'll be able to hit a Dragon Knight. And when it's off the Dragon Knight, they'll be 20, maybe able to even finish the game at that moment. But I feel like Raven, Joju, and Diong just grabbing onto the other three people's hair, just dragging them out. Let's do this. Let's win, guys. But MVP Black, they're just like running on top of them.
That Horrify did not change the tide here. Oh my god. Void Prison and Sulfuric Smash. This is going to be a wipe here with all the Li Ming resets. Let me look at the state of things for a second. This could be game if Black commits to it. Black normally does in situations like this. The respawn timers are pretty long still. I think this will be, because they could just take out the keep and then rotate down and take the Dragon Knight. The keep will push them very close to 20. You can see that cannon tower actually getting them even closer there.
And then Rat can go into Molten Core. I think that will be the game if they choose to do so. But they actually did get some hits from that keep. So Tusk coming along, looks like they're gonna push. They're just waiting for that Dragon Knight to come reset, doing some damage from the side.
Remember what I said about the siege camp that they took earlier? It's about to hit the bot keep as well, because no one was ever able to deal with that.
Right,
here's the Molten Core.
Sake going to Molten Core form, and they can just hit the core, just nothing else. They can actually take the game just like that and reset in Archon form. Wow, they really want to take this win. The Haka will be first to fall. Kyocha just breakdancing on the right. What a play.
That's going to be game. Some style in there by MVP Black at the end, but This series looks to be our first really one-sided one. This looks more one-sided than L5 versus SMT yesterday. And Black is just a superior team right now. They had 2 globals against them, but were able to secure every single Dragon Knight. They had the better team fighting. The Artanis pick did not gain value there on H82. And I think it's time to reconsider the draft. I think Raven absolutely needs to take first pick again going into game number 3.
That's right. I think they had the better draft compared to game number 1, but still they need to. I feel like it didn't really fit their style. Fitting the style, I think they were better at the team comp when game number 1. Maybe they need to just find their style and then just push with that. Even though maybe MB Black is a stronger opponent, maybe they'll lose, but they need to find. This is a league. They want to find their style, get better at it, maybe try something else, and then get better at it. And maybe later in the league, maybe after the first half of the phase, they'll be winning. Who knows?
Could be. I mean, look, this team doesn't look weak by any means, but anybody looks weak when you look at a top-tier team that has multiple titles, 1 global title, multiple international tournament titles. Before we talk more about the rest of the series, we're going to take a quick commercial break before we see if Black is going to close us out 3-0. We'll see you all in just a few.